go back to some of the practices in the past that, Harry and I had to grow up in. I think it's safe to say that change is on my agenda.
Lapse of the Harry and Meghan project in real time. In the past few hours,
January 2026 didn't begin with celebration inside Buckingham Palace. It began with tension. Not the kind that leaks to tabloids, not the kind that explodes in public, but the quiet, dangerous kind that signals a decision has already been made. Behind closed doors, senior aides moved carefully. Phones were kept face down.
But the doco is already turning out to be yet another flop for the couple. It failed to sell out and fill the theatre at the festival. Who would have thought Angela...
And conversations stopped the moment someone unfamiliar entered the room. By the time Prince William finally spoke, those present reportedly understood something immediately. This was no longer about managing a problem. This was about ending it. There was no shouting, no confrontation, no dramatic family showdown. But William didn't need theatrics. His authority came from something far more powerful: inevitability. This wasn't a brother speaking in anger. This was a future king acting to protect an institution that was slipping into dangerous ambiguity. And as January 2026 unfolded, the message became unmistakable. The Sussex chapter was no longer being contained. It was being closed. Thousands of miles away in Montecito, California, that reality hadn't fully landed yet. The public image was still polished, the branding still intact. But beneath the surface, the foundation was cracking. Because royal privilege, once removed,
it sort of rehashed old revelations with a new twist. As it turns out, we've apparently been wrong all along.
Doesn't vanish with noise or scandal. It disappears quietly, methodically, and permanently. And January 2026 was the month that process became irreversible. To understand why this moment mattered so much, you have to understand what came before it. Years earlier, in January 2020, Harry and Meghan announced they were stepping back from royal duties. At the time, it was framed as liberation freedom over formality, privacy over protocol. Many people sympathised. The media pressure was real, and even Queen Elizabeth recognised the need for compromise. She didn't exile them, she trusted them. An agreement was reached, built not on legal force but on honour. No public funding, no official duties. And one critical condition: royal titles would not be used in public or commercial life. Nothing was stripped away. No parliament vote, no punishment.
Nefarious, illegal methods to hack into information about Harry and the other celebrities.
Just trust the assumption that boundaries would be respected. That trust would become the fault line everything later collapsed into. After relocating to California, Harry and Meghan moved quickly. Netflix, Spotify speaking tours, a foundation. A global brand positioned around activism, philanthropy, and influence. On the surface, it looked like independence in action. But quietly, something else began happening. Invitations, event programs, charity announcements again and again referred to them as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Sometimes even with royal styling implied. At first, it was easy to dismiss. A mistake here, sloppy wording there. But when it kept happening and no one corrected it, questions began forming behind palace walls. Because royal status is not cosmetic. It carries institutional weight. It signals authority to governments, donors, and international organisations. When royal language appears, people don't assume former.
Advance under William and Catherine with renewed integrity.
For centuries, the British monarchy had been revered.
They assume representation. According to reports, that assumption became a growing concern. Private correspondents allegedly continued using royal styling. Travel arrangements reportedly followed protocols reserved for official representatives. Organisations behaved as though Harry and Meghan still spoke, at least informally, for the crown. None of this exploded publicly, but it accumulated quietly, and accumulation changes how intent is judged. By late 2025, senior royals were no longer willing to ignore the pattern.
Lives at Royal Lodge, which is, yes, maintained by the Crown Estate and the Sovereign Grant. It was Harry and Meghan who needed to repay, got it. Which they...
And then came the trip that changed everything. Nigeria. Publicly described as a charitable visit, it was received in a manner that raised alarms in London. Diplomatic-level treatment, enhanced security, government access. Reports later suggested that official-sounding correspondence was used to facilitate the visit not from Buckingham Palace, but from within their own organisation. The language was reportedly careful, deliberately ambiguous, also crafted to open doors without explicitly claiming authority. If true, this was no misunderstanding, it was leverage. When details of the Nigeria trip reached London, the tone shifted sharply. This was no longer about optics or miscommunication. It was about a pattern of behaviour publicly distancing from royal life while privately benefiting from royal credibility.
Even Harry's father refused to help them.
I feel really let down because...
And no one took that more seriously than Prince William. For him, this wasn't emotional. It was existential. The monarchy is not a brand to him. It is a responsibility, one he will inherit in full. Every blurred line weakened it. Every unofficial representation risked its legitimacy. January 2026 was when that concern turned into action. A statement was prepared, rare, restrained, and unmistakable. Signed jointly by Prince William and Princess Anne. Its meaning was clear even without naming names. Certain organisations were not recognised as royal. No one outside official channels represented the crown. Any implication otherwise was incorrect. There was no accusation, no spectacle, just a line drawn publicly for the first time. The public response was immediate. Polling showed strong support. Petitions gained tens of thousands of signatures. Many saw the move not as punishment, but as overdue clarity.
Well, Her Royal Highness Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, is about to be stripped of her official title. With King Charles...
And then something unexpected happened. Silence. No rebuttal. No press conference. No dramatic response from California. Instead, quiet digital changes. Websites updated late at night. Royal references removed. Language softened. No announcement. No explanation. Which raised a question that was impossible to ignore. If nothing wrong had happened, why erase it? As January 2026 progressed, attention shifted sharply toward the foundation itself. Reports surfaced about internal strategy discussions, branding documents, and positioning memos. One phrase stood out: residual royal value, not service, not duty, value. Allegations followed that donor funds were being used in ways that blurred charitable work with personal brand management.
Not the King's Premier. In fairness, okay. This was next level.
Yeah. And this was new. Like, they've never done this before.
These were allegations, but they were serious enough to trigger internal reviews, sponsor hesitation, and renewed scrutiny from corporate partners. Then came the moment that confirmed January 2026 would be remembered as a turning point. The palace made its final move. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles were suspended indefinitely. Not paused, not reviewed, suspended, approved at the highest level, without drama or ceremony. And a private remark attributed to the king spread quickly through royal circles. What they borrowed, they could have earned. The meaning was devastatingly simple. The opportunity had existed. The door had never been locked. But trust, once broken, doesn't reset. In Montecito, the impact was immediate. Social media activity slowed, then stopped. Public appearances vanished. Staff departures accelerated. A life built on visibility went quiet. The irony was impossible to miss. The couple who said they wanted privacy finally had it, but not as freedom, as isolation. Meanwhile, the monarchy moved forward with renewed clarity. Stricter definitions, transparent representation, a renewed emphasis on service over spectacle. January 2026 didn't end with reconciliation. It ended with resolution. The Crown chose certainty over confusion, responsibility over ambiguity. Whether history judges this as necessary protection or institutional overreach will depend on perspective. But one thing is undeniable. The line was drawn, and for the first time, there was no way around it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this protection or punishment? And if you were William, would you have done the same?